Guru Kripa Kevalam. Namaste and welcome everyone to Satsang today. Sadguru Shri Muji Baba Ki Jai. What kind of denial must it be? What kind of power of denial must it be that within you lives the greatest being in this universe? Not in this universe, beyond this universe. Literally, within you, the presence of that which is the highest beyond all thought and imagination and visualization. It is already there. Presence of that one is no different from that one itself. It's not that presence and it are separate. Its presence is it. So that lives within you. As the light of creation, as the guide which can guide you on everything, as the answer to any question that we may ever have. So then, how is it possible that we are not rejoicing? How is it possible? So, either this is not true, either this is just make-believe, hocus-pocus stuff, or there must be a power within us also to deny this. To deny the greatest gift ever, the greatest presence ever. So the human condition is a seeming tug of war between these two powers. The power to deny, which has no positive outcomes. It's just a denier, just the voice of limitation. And the greatest force in this creation and beyond this creation, in fact, that force which is responsible for creation, that is already here. So most of humanity, strangely, is familiar with the voice of limitation. And that seems comfortable and at home. We seem at home in that. But what about this divinity? Is it there or not? There or not? So if it is there, then what are we on about? What are we on about? How can there be, and between these two, is there a little old me? that shuttling about like a tennis ball between the two ends. No, it is not so. The first one itself is playing this game, this Leela. And to play it, it is designed the denial to make it seem as if its reality can be hidden. So all is up to you. It's completely up to you. Papaji said very simply, he said, you need nothing to be happy. But to be unhappy, you need at least one idea. The mind makes you believe that you can be unhappy just like that. Just like that. In your original state, you can be unhappy. It is not possible. For unhappiness, you always need a because. Because. For happiness, what is already your gift is already apparent. So it must be our blessing for the whole world and all the people in it that they must come into God's light. Because without coming into God's light, it is like living but actually never lived. Because living like you are a bundle of food is not life. That you are just this flesh which was born and will die is not life. So if you are alive now with God's light, how can you bear it that your brothers and sisters are not? So we must bless everyone that they turn towards the light and let go of the ignorance which is clouding their life, clouding their mind. But blessing them is a good start, but it is not enough. Your life must also represent that. You have the gift. You have the gift. Now, to go to the voice of the false still is ignorance of a higher variety. See, it is ignorance of a higher variety than those who have not come to God, who have not met God in their heart. At least they have an excuse because all of this to them may sound like it is just made up fairy tales. So firstly, confirm to yourself that is your insight true or is it false? Is who you are meeting in your heart, is that the holy presence or is that some just biochemical reaction? Is that just something your seeming brain is manifesting for you? And if you have doubts like this, then put them, bring them in your light. Bring them to God's light itself. But confirm this to yourself, that God lives within me. And we'll come to what that me is in a moment. Because God obviously doesn't live within a bundle of flesh. A bundle of food is not God's home. So God's presence lives within you, but that you is not an object. But we'll come to that in a moment. First, confirm that that which you call I am is who I am. Whose amness is that? Huh? Who's that? Who is that? Who is here? And if you don't know, don't you feel like that question must take dominance over every other question you're trying to resolve? Or are you willing to let just some mysterious presence is within me? I don't know. Let me go about my life. That sounds super absurd to me. That there is a presence I am. That is apparent to all of us, isn't it? Those of you who are really new to Satsang, we can talk about it in a moment. But I'm talking to most of you where it is undeniable. I am. Yes or no? Now, either the mind has succeeded in convincing you that that presence belongs to a body and is under the service of the mind, or you recognize that that presence is unlimited. It is beyond boundary, beyond birth and death. Which is it? So, which is it? We must confirm these things. We cannot be half-hearted about this stuff anymore. Who is living here? How can any other thing be important? So, without you confirming this, the flip that I want you to make is not going to happen. When you are still in doubt, it is not going to happen. So first you have to confirm that it is God's presence, it is God's light, it is a higher being than you can ever imagine. And I am already claiming it for you. I'm already making the claim on your behalf. You have to follow with full faith and explore this for yourself. Because without faith, you cannot even explore it. You will put it in a construct which is too limited. So a voice that you trust, that you call Father, is making the claim for you. And if you're unwilling to follow that with faith, then there is no point saying Father. Then we are just coffee table friends, chai shop buddies, at best. But if you say Guru or Father, and your Guru is telling you that it is God itself which you call my presence, and that should be the center of your exploration. No other problem in the world is worth resolving as much as this is. So drop your attachment to other things in the world which are going to die soon and get to the confirmation of the eternal existence within you. Nothing else is worth it, especially not any sort of spiritual sightseeing. Oh, sometimes I experience peace and then this calms and then it goes away and then I have the experience. All this spiritual sightseeing business is not worthwhile at all. When this happens, when I listen to you, then I find peace, or someday actually it disturbs me even more. It doesn't matter. There is a being within you Till you can resolve who that is, all the rest is all surface level nonsense. Whose presence is that? The sages have told us that your Atma is the Paramatma, your Atma and Brahman are the one and the same. The Supreme and the presence within you is one and the same. And what are we going on about? That me which we are going on about has never existed, never been born. God's light is here, and our doubt always is, but what about me? Nothing about you because you don't exist. So stop treating the non-existent as existent and the existent as non-existent. And this is the flip that we need to make. Once you recognize that this presence is here, and either on faith or on inquiry, if you find that this presence is God, then this life must belong to that presence and not to the non-existent one. It is not a discovery so that you can get into a relationship with it. It is a discovery so that you can chop off your own head. The head full of knowledge. But that knowledge has the narrative where the central character is a non-existent me. So come to the holy presence within you, the living Atma within you, and know that it is the only existent. There is nothing else existent here for it to have a relationship with. So when the sages said God or me, not God and me, they are saying it very, very literally. Even now you may be asking, so how am I receiving this? What's happening to me as I hear these words? Can I live like this? It has nothing to do with any of that. Nothing to do with any of that. How must I change my life because of this? Forget about yourself, the false self. Forget about the non-existent and see that the presence that is here is beyond any gift that you can ever receive in the world. It's the most absurd exchange that we make. The mind offers us what? Even in the best stories, what does it offer us? I know about the terrible stories. Where it's just like, poor me, but what about me? But even the best stories are what? What is on offer? What is on offer? You'll become what? King of this world? You'll become the first world president? All the countries will unite and you will become the president of the world. And then what will happen? You'll die. What is an offer that you're exchanging God for it? You will become the most enlightened sage that ever lived. You will give birth to 10 Ashtavakras. What is it? What is it that you want like that? Hmm? That which every true sage is in service to, at the feet of, that is already in your heart. You don't have the capacity to desire more than what you already have. It's not that you should not want, but the problem is that the instrument with which you can want, what it has to offer cannot come close to what you already have. So to want then in spite of that, you see, is only possible in a delusion about what already is. Are you hearing me? So how is it possible to want? Oh, I want to be special. I want to be this. I want to be that. I want to be seen. I want to be something. I want to be free. I want everyone to know I'm free. All of these things can only happen in denial of what is already there. Once you say that God is, now say the rest. Especially if you say only God is. Then say God want like this, God want to be seen, God. Is it possible? So first, to want, to desire, you must be in denial of what already is. And that is why I'm saying that don't leave this exploration halfway. There is a living presence within you. If it just came, if it just came, then won't you drop everything else and say, who is this? Who has come inside me? Suppose we're all dead, like walking zombies, we're all dead. And suddenly, the presence is here. Would you say, oh, let me um, tend to my work first, and then I'll see if I have time, I'll see who this is. It's not possible. Who is this? And once you recognize this, who this is, how is it possible to value anything in comparison to this? Because God is here. And if God is here, then how are we even talking all this? So we have taken the unreal to be real and the real to be unreal. Because if um, an aspect of God which we recognize objectively as God, as a form of the Lord walked into the room just now, then we would not even need to have this conversation. But you are getting a more intimate insight, a truer insight, which is beyond coming and going. But that we don't value because we don't value the real, the unchanging, we value the changing. So we're still waiting for spiritual experiences, some presence of some feeling, something like that. And in all of that, looking for the real within the unreal, we're spending our whole life missing the real. This is the whole game of Maya. And moment after moment after moment, days after days after days, weeks after weeks after weeks, months after months, 2 years after years, we spend like this, and soon it is time out, time over. Lifetime after lifetime. The one that you want to become is going to die anytime soon. And another lifetime of Lakshmana not getting off the horse of individuality, of pride, of specialness. And another ring going into the sage's vows. There is no clue that all of you have not been provided now. There is no clue that has not been provided now. But if your only lamentation continues to be, but the mind says, but the mind says, but the mind says. I know what the mind says. Tell me what the heart is saying. You see? And if you did not have the power to switch out from your mind to your heart, then why would I repeat this for 12 years? Where are you trying to get clarity? Where are you trying to understand? I'm talking about a living presence. Where are you hearing all of this? Are you still in, but I don't get it? Are you denying that you are? So there would be no hope in this Leela if there was no power in us to follow a higher voice than the mind's voice. If these two voices were made available, the mind and intuition, the ego and God's light, the ego and the heart, the head and the heart. But the second one you couldn't go to anyway. Then why would God create it? Just to tease you. Oh, it's there, but you have no power to go to it. Every sage has told us. Bhagwan has told us, as long as you think you have any choice in anything, make the choice not to go with the stream of thoughts. Make the choice not to go with the stream of thoughts. Was he fooling us? You may say Ananta is a fool, he's a liar. Was Bhagwan fooling us? Is he a liar? Papaji said, keep quiet. Was he talking about your physical mouth? He was talking about the absence of egoic belief. Don't buy into your mental notions. Keep quiet. Guruji says, don't identify. He has told us clearly that you have attention and belief, and using which you identify. Don't identify. I keep saying, don't believe your next thought. And if you buy to yourself, oh, but my mind says, but it happens automatically, and the belief identification happens automatically. Do you really believe that all of us are that stupid? I have spent 12 years of my life telling you not to believe your thoughts. And if your defense after 12 years is, I can't help it, it just happens automatically. Then I must be the most foolish teacher you can ever go to. So I'm provoking you, of course, to switch out of this limited mind, and I'm introducing the fact to you that you are consciousness. You are not hostage to any mind. The mind is under your power. You are not under it. If you were not God or an aspect of God, then we could not have this conversation. Then satsang would not be consciousness speaking with consciousness. But because you do have that power, but you're still enthralled with what it is offering, and you keep denying that, then I have to provoke you. Don't be enthralled by the mind's temptations and positions. Nothing that it says is true. And if you use the content of what your mind is saying to audit your state, there can be no greater foolishness than that. So how are you right now? The most popular question in the world. How are you right now? Where will you go for the answer? Does anyone say, I am so good, God is here? Oh, I'm all right. Because, this happened, and then this happened, and then I wanted this job, and I wanted this girlfriend, and yeah. Who are you using? What tool are you using to determine you are that in which God is? And your report is about what? You ate some food and you keep reporting about that. So where will you go for a true report? What is happening with you? How are you? What are you? Where are you? Who are you? Where can you go for a true answer? So, what am I saying? I'm saying that this is not about reforming your mind. I'm not expecting that your mind will change. At best, what will happen is that the intellect aspect of your mind will start judging things for God and not against God. That is the best outcome we can expect in the mind. But you, as consciousness, can recognize that there is a higher power calling you from within your heart. You have to give up wanting to be right. Suppose you die fully convinced with all your mind's nonsense and you convince yourself and everyone around you that you are right. So, what will happen? What will happen? Fully you convince yourself that you are right. And not only yourself, and this will never happen, but suppose everybody around you also will think that you are right. And you die the rightest in your head. You were right about what you thought, you were right about your judgments, you were right about your master, you were right about the teaching, you were right about everything. You were right about how life is, everything, but it's all here, conceptual. That's how all the zombies are living anyway, thinking that they're right. Get out of this righteousness. It's not true righteousness. It is only pride. Get out of it and step into the humility of your heart. Don't care about being right. Care about God's light. That's where humility comes in. And I'm happy I'm sharing this with you because this morning, as I opened my page, or the notes page for the contemplation to be posted, something felt to refer to the Narad Bhakti Sutras, and some of you may be aware of those. And one sentence attracted my attention there, which was God hates pride and loves humility. And I was going to pose the contemplation about that. But then it just occurred to me in my heart that the children will not understand this, like God hating pride, because uh, maybe it's better said and explained rather than put in words like that. It's not that God hates. It's not that God hates. But our pride is blocking us from God. Our wanting to be right, our need to be seen, our need to be special is blocking that absence of egoic belief that I'm talking about. It's stopping you from becoming quiet like Papaji wanted. So when the invitation these days is coming, often from this expression that we must live as if we are humble servants of God. It is because as a humble servant of God, we don't need to be right. We don't need to prove anything to the world. We don't need to become special. To switch out from egoic intent, egoic belief, to a life of God's light cannot happen while we are arrogant or proud. And the extent to which that goes is to the extent of even one thing. I say often earlier that to know even one thing is to know too much. What do you know without knowing anything? That is the extent of humility that is needed. And I mean completely. I'm being fully literal. You have to become fully empty. Your knowledge plagues you, it makes you suffer, it is making you tired. It is the burden on your heads. You may think it is what you have that is of value, but it is not. So when your mind is empty of conceptual knowledge, that is the only point at which intuitive knowledge can sprout and flower within you. Till you are not empty, then all your talk about awareness and consciousness and God is empty. Very important. Till you are not empty, all your talk about awareness, consciousness, Brahman, Nirgun, Sagun, God, surrender, inquiry, all of this stuff is empty. Empty of light, empty of frequency. And when you are empty, then you may be the most inarticulate, uneloquent of all speakers, and your words will carry a perfume. You will meet it yourself in your heart. And maybe that is a good test actually. Speak as if the words are meant for yourself. Believe that which you would teach yourself before wanting to share. Find the words where you will experience your own fragrance. If you don't enjoy your own company, you don't enjoy your own words, then no amount of special knowledge is going to help you. You may combine the words of the great Adi Shankaracharya himself with the words of Buddha and Christ together and come up with the best sounding words. But if you're full of identity, those words will have no power. Empty your head. Be full of God's light in your heart. And even the most infantile words have the potency to spread God's light. But when you are full of pride, even you don't want to hear yourself. So, where are we? We talked about who is it that lives in your heart? Whose presence is this? And I'm claiming on your behalf that God is here. God is living in your heart. Then we're saying that our life must become about the centrality of God's light instead of about the non-existent me. And we're exploring how false knowledge and the need to be right can prevent that from happening. And how humility is very important provisionally while we make the switch away from head to heart. Now you're here, empty of pride. God's light is unobstructed within you. Now, firstly, the question will not arise as to how should I live. But suppose that it did. Suppose it arose within us. How to live. God's light is already living you. It's already living you. So allow that to unfold without mental obstruction, open and empty. So that solves the problems of what is and how to live. To live surrendered to God. And there will also come a time where guidance will be palpable to you from your heart. Whether it arises for that which you call yourself or for others, you must follow that guidance. So that is to live in God's light. That is to live in heaven on earth. Some of you already have that sensitivity now that as you find your attention itself gravitating towards the mind, you're able to withdraw it. But don't worry about that if that is attention is still in the head a lot. At least don't believe what is being offered. One question is, Father, you say that God is that's here. What are you doing? But sometimes the word God seems to create more separation than union. But that is in our heads. If I said Bhagwan, so suppose you don't hear God, you hear Bhagwan instead. So this is nothing but the Hindi for God. Or I said Allah, or I said Yahweh. The point is not that. The point is not the word, although the word I have no aversion to. But really, the point is that there is a presence within you. Who is that? That is worth exploring. And it feels like a holy presence, a divine presence, whatever word you may use. How can anything else be worthwhile? One point that is not this, and of course that was not your question, but it reminded me of that because it came to me in some conversations with some of the kids I had yesterday, where it just came from here that a lot of time we are trying to take accountability from God. I can't believe in a God that does this. How can a God be like that? I can't buy into a God that is like this. You see? But what you believe and don't believe and accept and not accept, it is not God that is in trial in your court. It is completely irrelevant. God is not accountable to you. God doesn't have to make sense to you. Even His created universe doesn't make sense to you. Like the great scientist said, the universe has no obligation to make sense to you. And you expect that which is the creator of that to make sense to you. Are you accountable instead to God? How about we switch it? In what way are you accountable to God? God has given His presence to animate your life, to make you alive. How have you, what have you returned as God's gift for even one breath? What can you pay back God for even one breath that He has given you? Then now we are out to make God accountable to us. And these things have become very natural and regular in the world, but I spot the ignorance in them, and therefore, not with the idea of producing any guilt or unworthiness, but just to get you to look what is happening. Look at the way the mind is playing this game. It has made itself the judge even for God. Forget about you and your friends and relatives and relationships. I can't believe in a God that does like that. Who cares about the judgment of a non-existent one? If you exist, where have you got that existence from? Who has gifted you that existence? And if that one was to hold you accountable for the gifts that you have received, have you valued the presence of God? So, switch it around. Egoic way of thinking is big trouble and only the doorway to suffering. God has given you life. God has given you a beautiful instrument called a body. God has given you this universe, this dream called the universe. You're living and breathing in God's light. If there is one that has rights now, which one is that? If there is one that can demand now, which one is that? It's like a guest came to the party, like Guruji said, in a different way, paraphrasing. A guest comes to the party, says, I'm hungry. You offer bread. Yes. Is it organic? God, is it gluten free? No. God has already given you everything. And then you hold God on trial. It's just the absurdity from the mind. So there's another question on this. On the term God or actually the presence itself that is here. Now, you must admit by now that there is a very palpable presence, I am. Nobody looks at this presence and says, you are. Everyone says, I woke up this morning, I am sitting. So this is undeniable no matter what words you may be using. Now we're also finding that this presence I am has no limit, it has no boundary. In fact, very little of it, and yet the most magnificent is in the perceptual realm at all, where you can sense a vibration, a subtle presence I am. You can sense its presence. And yet the being instantly, as you meet the presence, you recognize that it is coming from an unlimited source. Nobody comes to the presence of being and say, oh, yeah, that could be a little bit. There's a little bit I am. Yeah? Anyone had that experience? You come to I am. Chota mota. And then is it big or small? Unlimited. You cannot define it. So this presence appears as if it is within us. But of course, upon investigation, you see that it cannot be within the body, although it may seem to correlate in this. And yet you find this unlimited, the presence of an unlimited one within you. The words are secondary. The question is, who is this? Whose presence is this? And if you do find a word that you can use for it, if that one is here, then how is my stuff, quote unquote, my stuff relevant anymore? Whose presence is here? Whose life is this? So if there is a duality, is it that, okay, I already take myself to be me, and now there is another one here, but that me is indisputable. So if we confirm that another one is here, that would mean that there is separation or that there are two. I am saying that the me is not there, it's completely questionable, and you must ask the question. And only God is. Is the question right on top. One says it seems to be more a fault in acknowledging or knowing God than in desiring things. Yes, both in a way go hand in hand. Both go hand in hand. And one says, Namaste, Father. Is it right to say that one should feel the presence of God inside? Can we trust in our mind's assessment of that? Or should we just stop believing the false feeling of being limited? Okay, let's look at this again. Is it right to say that one should feel the presence of God inside? Yes, right to say, more important than to say is to feel it, to meet it. It's not really a feeling, although it does have that primordial sense of feeling. So it's important to meet it than to say it. It's important to hear it. Can we trust in our mind's assessment of that? The mind cannot assess that. Our mind does nothing. It can comment on it. So suppose you've never been to, uh, say, the Grand Canyon, and you've never seen a photo also, but you may want to assess it and say, "Oh, Grand Canyon, what's the big deal in that?" Is it? So, in the same way, the mind will assess this, but the mind's assessment has nothing to do with it. It has no access to this. It is just the measurer of name and form, of weight and size, of time and space. It has nothing to do with this. So don't go with your mind's assessment of it. I'm introducing you to your intuition, to heart knowledge, to intuitive insight, to the Sadguru presence within you that you can trust. Then you say, or should we just stop believing the false feeling of being limited? You must stop believing any concept. Stop believing anything. Become like Oshiji said, interview. He said, do you believe in this or that? I don't remember what the questioner asked, but he said, I don't believe in belief. Among the very few things I've heard from Oshiji, I feel like this is also very nice. What is your life without believing the mind? What is life? What is your life without belief in your thoughts? That we must explore. Okay. So the first mode is that you live as if there is no presence. We live as if there is no light, there is no presence. I am just a bundle of food. I am made up of flesh and blood. That is flesh, blood, and bones, and that's all I am. So I am proposing to you that that is almost like not having lived at all. That's the first mode of operation. The second mode of operation is that you start getting a call from your heart, and that there is something deeper, something beyond this realm of perception starts to become apparent to you, but you keep shutting it out and saying, there'll be time for that. I have other important things to do. I will do that. And most likely the mind will win in that life also, saying, you can't even say well tried actually. You have to say, didn't try, good. I had it easy. The third will be those who through grace, through inquiry, through surrender, through faith, came to the insight of God's presence, the Atma within them. But in spite of that, the attraction, temptation, pull of Maya was so much that they neglected this light and continued to live in their heads, to live in the ego shadow. Then there will be a life which is completely surrendered to this, astounded by the divinity and holiness of the presence within them, astounded by the complete, completely unconnected reality that they are discovering within them compared to the world's version of reality. They may live a true life while living this eternity within them. And yet may feel like it is a bit divided. Sometimes they're in the head, sometimes they're in the light. Then there are some of you who will only make adventurous, tiny visits into your head. And as soon as you feel the temperature, the heat of hell in your head, you retreat back home without any pride. And of course, my blessing and a fatherly, hopeful prediction is that all of you go beyond even that and find your permanent home in God's light. Of course, in the human condition, you've seen that a few momentary moments of identification do happen, but may they become light and short for all of you. From here to Brahmagyan is not any distance at all. Because to recognize the presence in the light of this presence, not only are all questions about life answered, but all questions of that which is beyond life answered. You recognize that your unlimited being is here, whose presence is in your heart, effortlessly. And it takes no time with the right instrument of intuitive insight. You recognize that you are aware even of this. You are the untouched awareness of even the unlimited being. That is your magnificence. You're beyond all things and perceptions and understanding. Which one? This one? Yes, yes, yes. So you recognize that the presence is here. You may say, I experience the presence in my heart. Some of you may say it's here in my head. Some may say it's around me. You see? So you're saying that the presence is on the cusp of manifest and unmanifest. You can taste its vibration. You can taste its sweetness in some way. And you can confirm God's light is here. But when you are asked, does this presence have a boundary? Does this being whose presence this is have a boundary? Does it have a start and end? So you will yourself say that although I experience it in this way or that way, whichever way, you say, but it itself is boundless. See? Now, although this is boundless and the whole universe appears within this, even this is not your ultimate constancy. It's not ultimately constant. It is that which wakes up when you wake up. You say, I am. This I am is unlimited. But I is independent of am and am not. You are aware of even this being. You are aware of even this presence. You are the ultimate witnessing principle of even this existent I am. So you will always find that although in reality they are one, there is a qualitative difference in the two questions. Can I stop being and am I aware now? Can I stop being? And we cannot work towards this. So don't try to work on these questions. Just let them be like grenades which you throw in your heart and let them explode whatever insights have to show up. So this is your magnificence. That even the unlimited Saguna Brahman, even the Ishvara or God, you are that absolute Brahman, that without all qualities, even of being and not being. All of this is the gift of the Sadguru presence within you, the intuitive insight within you. The Guru is a very strange role in this world. You see, why is it strange? It's strange because I feel like I have the greatest gift to offer everyone. You see? But everyone seems to be running from this gift. Please take. No, I'd rather run. Thank you. So this is the strange sort of thing that the role of the Guru, if it's sounding very attractive to some of you, I'm going to tell you that mostly people need confirmation and need to be told that they are right instead of really wanting to follow a Guru. Especially in today's world, it is more like you must come to the master, and the master is a good one if he's saying yes, 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 very good, very good. And you say, oh, but that's not what I came for. So first that pride has to go. That arrogance has to go. Like my first guru that I met in this world, he said to me that people are so quick to call me guru and then so quick to tell me how I should be and what I should do. So quickly they use the term guru, but then become my guru. And we don't realize that this is how we operate. And I did that with him, by the way. I did that with him. In spite of hearing that, I judged him and said, no, but no, I'm going to move on. Thank you. So these are the follies of pride. What is the better news that any of us have ever heard? God's light lives within you. Tell me one piece of better news you've ever had. It doesn't matter who you are, how many satsangs you've come to, how many spiritual books you've read. God light lives within you. So the one who is the bringer of this best news, we want to run. From that one we want to run. Because the sacrifice seems difficult. So if God light lives within you, the difficult part seems to be that you must be empty of yourself, of the false, to know this to be true. Now, what are you unwilling to risk for that? What is so great about you that you are not willing to become empty? What do you want to hold on to and yet meet God? And to risk it all. Risk it all. Especially when you feel like it is a risk. Is this life, if you give it up for God, what is the worst case scenario? What is the worst case scenario if you give it up for God? What will happen? Take that risk. You will be known as stupidest one who was ever born. Stupidest one. You had all the opportunities. You could have made something out of yourself. You could have become someone. Huh? But you took this stupid risk and bet it all on God and said, I will become no one for God. Who can do it? What is that old classic movie? You could have been a contender. Yeah? Maybe you would have won. But instead of that, this strange, silly man is telling you, forget it, risk it all, give me one life. Don't try to become anybody. Don't win at any game. Be a loser, the worst loser. If you have to be somebody, be the loser. If that is the worst case scenario. What do you have to lose? One lifetime you will leave. You will die as an insignificant insect. Be willing to do that. I'm not saying change anything in your outer life. But inwardly, if that is God's will, that you die a hungry beggar, nobody looks at you and you die of starvation, naked on the streets, accept. Or whatever the worst case scenario is for you, risk it, because I cannot guarantee you what your life will be. I cannot even guarantee you that you set your table every night for God to come. And you may spend the next 50 years of your life doing that, but you may still not find God. I cannot even guarantee you this. Because you may say that I'm willing to do this, but guarantee me that God will come. I can guarantee you only the possibility. But that there is a possibility to meet God, to live with God, to live as God, in God's light. How much are you willing to risk for that possibility? Even if that possibility was infinitesimally small. Suppose this is a lottery where 1 out of 10 million will win, but those 10 million are the ones that are willing to give up on all outcomes they wanted from their life. Would you participate in this? Yes, sir. 1 in 10 million. 1 in 10 million. But you have to give up on yourself. You may die an insignificant insect. Nobody cares. Yes or no? No entitlement, no rights over God, no judgments about God and God's will. Just a simple humility, true integrity, true love and devotion, compassion for our brothers and sisters. But not asking for something in return, accepting the slim odds on offer. So this is what it means to be empty of pride. Empty of pride is not an outward posture, oh, I'm so sweet to everyone, I talk nicely, I even say namaste to everyone I meet. Empty of pride is to not take yourself to be better. Even now you can meet that within yourself. Take yourself to be better. That is the situation of the human condition. All 7 billion of us take ourselves to be better. You see the contradiction in that? All of us take ourselves to be better. But your absence of pride now must become neither better nor worse, because you will try to make yourself better by taking yourself to be worse. So not even that. Become that insignificant to yourself. Guruji wrote such a beautiful letter to Papaji. Papaji, just in that beautiful video, created such a fire for Guruji. So, as long as you have pride in you, you will not be free. And that burnt up, like Guruji, in Guruji's own words, burnt up everything within, just burnt it all. Here was a very humble, sweet man who went to a master because the disciples invited him, and he wrote a nice letter, and in response he said he heard that as long as you have pride, you cannot become free. So what is going on? What is going on? So this is the bane of the human condition, that all of us, in spite of our life circumstances, even those who keep saying I'm unworthy, actually believe somewhere that they are better. Because unless we put ourselves in that false position, what gives us the capacity to judge? A judge must be put on a pedestal first. So notice these subtle tricks with the ego. This is what may block you. So I'm saying to you, bet your life on the worst odds you can imagine. Become a nobody for that. Surrender to the holy presence within you. With everything that you think you have at your disposal, don't waste it on judgment and argument and intellectually being right. None of that. Spend it all in your heart, in God's light. Don't worry about the outcomes. Don't expect guarantees. Don't expect anything to make sense. Okay, let's go to Kate. Unless Adam is with her and we can't see her. See him. Namaste.
Namaste. Yeah, I've been really appreciating your satsangs the last couple of months. It's just been really like just really just shot straight to my heart, and it's kind of like the shake, you know, it's really, really needed, because it's so easy to get distracted. It's so easy to for me to go into my doubts and doubt what's important, look for approval in my relationships, that sense of survival as well, and the pride was a really, that one was, the possibility to meet this one. There's one that wants to hide and shame.
Yes.
with this, but I guess that's not me. And I even noticed the pulling away, and kind of like, when you kind of out it and you say it, it's kind of like, oh yeah. And it's, to just keep getting that reminder, because when you say you're giving this gift of God, God's in you, and there's just this fear, this response of fear in the body, which I'm just used to running from. So, it really does feel like the life is at stake.
It's very good. It's very good what you're saying. I'm enjoying your report. You seem to be meeting what I'm really pointing to, and reporting with full integrity. So I'm very happy. Is there anything that you feel like you get stuck with, or something I can help you with if something feels like a block or something?
I just really appreciate that reflection, because I think there can be a judge going, you don't get this, you don't know what's going on. And I just feel really lost and feel like tears, and just I feel really touched by just being able to speak. And
very good. So the only pointer tip I may have for you then is that you're doing really well, you're doing well, and just see if you can make this more and more about God's light rather than what is happening to you in God's light. See if it's just about God's light, and if there is a story, let that story be about God itself, about God's light shining brightly, rather than keeping the protagonist as me and what that me's relationship is with God. So this is my advice to you, that although you're really deeply marinating in what is being shared, I want to prod you a little further and say, make this even more about God. Your mind, of course, will come and say, but then I can't say anything or make a report, or how do I respond? I don't even know. But you'll find a way, and that is how the sharing of satsang happens. When the person is of no concern to you, and it only becomes about sharing God's light, that one then becomes a true teacher of God to themselves and to the world. So it is my encouragement and prodding and pushing and inviting everyone to share this light that they're discovering in their heart. Because all of us are sharing, mostly in the world, we are all sharing the falls anyway. So all of us are sharing, but may the content of that sharing move from the further distribution of the ego shadow to the spreading of God's light. So as you find yourself in an inarticulate position where something is posed to you saying, make this even more about God and completely about God. And maybe for days you may not have a way to do that. You may not feel like, but I don't have a report about God. How can I report about God? What can I say about God's life? But given that that advice has come to you, see how that unfolds in your heart. And may that lead to that light which you are discovering for yourself. May that spread to the whole universe.
Yay.
I'm just setting tiny targets for all my children, just very small targets.
Yeah. It feels like going to see Muji in India felt like almost like permission to give so much attention to this. And it's almost like seeing all the parts that want to hide that light or something, and it's being able to actually go, oh, that's okay. That's free to be, really.
So happy to hear from you, and hope you continue even so deeply in this with God's grace, my Father's light.
Yeah. And just to say thank you so much to the Sangha as well. It's just so helpful.
Yeah. So,
Thank you.
Yeah. Almighty, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go to Shiv.
Hi, Father, can you hear me? I'm just turning on the.
Yeah, yes, my dear.
So, Father, it's a bit of a story. I don't know how else to say it, but I tried following what you were saying, that try to, who is here kind of thing, like who is it really, this being?
Yeah.
So, so I was, like, usually I ask myself the question, like, who am I or what exists, all that.
Yeah.
Then I ask, where are the boundaries of this being?
Very
So
good.
as I was listening to you, something came up like I would just ask, where is my boundary instead of the being's boundary?
Okay.
And I was like looking around, I was on the terrace and listening to you. And then, is my boundary there, that building over there, the tree beyond it, or is it on this side? So for a while, it seemed like I had this core of being and I was walking around in the world. But then it seemed like there's this huge thing that I am. And in that center thing, the centrality, it was not there. And I looked up at the moon, is my boundary there? And so my thing is like, even when I'm here and I came back inside and I can't look at the moon, I can't see at those distant buildings.
Yes.
But I'm sort of relying on the memory of that visual
Okay.
to sort of say, where is my boundary kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I'm guessing there's something else that you're talking about. And
Yeah.
I wanted to just ask you.
Yes, yes, very good. So you're on the right track. Keep exploring this. Because beyond this, maybe words will not help. Your own insights have to deepen, but you will recognize, and maybe this is the problem which I can offer, which is to say that the perceptual world that you are using to test your boundary, within that appear, or even within who does that exist? Is it present? For a long time, I remember when you first used to talk about dream state, waking state. So you can use that metaphor to help you with this. Saying that if this was a dream, then how would you find the boundary of the dream? Basically, we are trying to collectively find the question which the mind cannot answer, but your intuition can. If your mind cannot answer and your intuition could not, then it's a useless question. And there's real question that your intuition can't answer. But there are many questions which the mind will jump to answer and conclude based on the effort and evidence that presumably is mine. But I'm really looking for a question which pushes you beyond the mind, and yet it's interesting enough for you to ponder in your heart. That's the idea. Otherwise, what will happen is that many times questions are offered, and we can make a judgment about our temperament and say, but I don't want to know this. Is it? Like many of you may say, I don't want to know if the world is within me or I am within the world. I don't care about that. So based on each of you, I want to create one grenade for all of you where you cannot meet it in your head, and yet you are very, very desperate to find an answer. Then you have to find that intuitive ability within you to grasp all of these things.
So just keep doing the same thing, like keep marinating in being, then it'll emerge, sort of, which is not really like expressible kind of thing.
Yes. Soon you will find that you cannot do it in the traditional, like you found with the earlier questions, that you can use empirical methods to find this. The question seems graspable somewhere. So I'm just getting all of you used to turning towards that intuitive insight rather than the empirical method you're used to.
That's all. Thank you.
Can you repeat the question?
The question
was the boundary of the dream.
Something like this. What is the question, Shiv?
If it's a dream, then where would your boundary be? If this was a dream.
Dreamer.
Yeah, where's the boundary of the dream?
Yeah. Fine. Yes. Very good. Thank you. Okay, let's go to Batul. I hope I pronounced that name properly. Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you, beloved Father. So happy to speak to you. Actually, I wasn't preparing to speak, and it came suddenly. To expose what I feel is going on, and to just put it like this. I feel like it's since almost 1 year, but it's become more and more obvious and also urgent.
Yes.
Like all my my entire being longing to find rest in the self-realization, and everything else become very much. I know truth is in everything and everywhere, but it become somehow this noise of the world become very much painful, and come to a point it looks like unbearable, you know.
Yes.
I don't want to be running out of life, and I know that there is no place for fear when the heart is open for the reality, to feel it's all fine. Somehow everything is fine, everything clouds passing, even pain, even distractions, identifications, everything is fine. At the same time, and because I'm in a moment which is I came to a new country. I have to learn its language and to start something new, and to be able to stand on my own here. But this, like, you know, when newborn baby want to come, it just don't wait, don't look to anything, to any proper condition. It just, if someone in the street, it just come.
Yeah.
So something feels, forget about everything, and just everything is saying you have to do this and that and to fix this and that, but something say forget everything and just now go to Sahara and be in this protective environment to just feel the rest that you need.
Yes.
And to the home, and to complete this, and then you will be able to somehow go out to the world and do what you have to do, if there is any. Because something really lost the investment in everything, and it's become very, very heavy. Why I'm doing all this? Yes, okay, because I'm in this body, you know, and I have to sustain some things. At the same time, it's yeah. I applied for going to Sahara, and something complicated here. If I went, I will lose the school that I am in it, and something will happen, but I cannot think so much about it, you know. Otherwise I have to wait so much until summer, and I feel it's so difficult. All of this. Thank you for this space to something, not worries about all of this, but you know, this feeling of postponing something, it's also become very, very hard, you know. Just yeah.
Thank you for that, and I'm fully in service to those who feel this urgency in their heart to come to this discovery, because there's really no time. So to recognize that there is no time, because the real battleground is for time. Mind will convince you that there's enough time, you know, take your time, do your stuff. Then when there's space, then you find God. But some of you have seen through that and seen that you can keep playing that game lifetime after lifetime. Now you come to a point where there's no time. Need is urgent. And we feel so drawn in our heart for the truth so urgently. The external form of the master here is just to help you to be in service to those children who really are prioritizing this in their heart above everything else. And this is beautiful. One tip I have for you is that don't go to Sadhguru's feet with any expectation. Don't go with any expectation. Just fully empty. Fully empty. And don't even expect that you will find rest or you won't find rest or whatever. None of your problem anymore. You made the move and went to the master. The rest is not for you to judge. With the rest, if you have faith, then leave the rest, because your mind will otherwise use those things and make comparisons and judgments and say, I was in the city and those problems were there, but now I'm here and these problems are here. So don't allow your mind to play that game. And any expectations you have, just leave them be. Know that you're at the feet of that one who can help you meet God. That's all that counts. Now, whether that needs more aggravation or more rest is up to that one. It's not up to you. You just go fully innocently with no preset idea about what should unfold and how it should unfold. That is one minor tip I would have for you. Because the smallest thing the mind can use to create trouble. So just surrender to this longing in your heart. Completely with you when you say that, I want to put this first. How it moves outwardly is not something that I'm concerned about, because the outer play is just in service to your inner light. So if your urge is to just be in that light inwardly, then the outer circumstances will always be in service to that. Even when they feel like it's opposed, it's just to burn and get you deeper in that. So that you're not so concerned about. But if you get invited and you take the opportunity to be with the master, then don't have any predetermined ideas about how that will be. And those who meet this call, the longing from the heart with the full urgency of spirit, then my blessing is that it will unfold.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
It is inside my heart. It is clear that everything. It's not, even if I'm here, if I'm there, but everything it's this is what is important now. This is what this life is for. This now.
Yes.
The disturbance is not here because something trusts this completely. It just is. It's nobody decide about it. Nobody said it's now or before or after. The disturbance happened outwardly, that not inwardly. That I want to go now and not matter what will happen after that, or something said, no, leave it to the summer so you don't lose the semester and the things that how not should be, but how it's stable in the situation here, and go in the summer. But it will, I know that it's inside. It's so difficult to continue like this before. Yeah.
Yes, Maria, that's what I'm saying, that follow the longing in your heart fully and be completely open about how that moves in the outer play of this time and space and light and sound. Keep a determination that come what may, my priority is God in my heart. And leave it to God itself as to unfold your life and how your body will move and what you say yes to and no to. Just leave it to the light. You will see that it is already moving it. But there's an idea that we have to decide. So as long as there's an idea that we have to decide, allow that decision to come from God itself.
Yeah. So when I applied, I felt, I don't know how it will go. They said something, I said, and let's see, just let it flow. Yeah. Thank you so much.
With you, fully in service to longing in your heart and yes.
Thank you.
Let's go to Martina.
Namaste.
Namaste, Martina.
Can you please help me to speed up this process?
Speed up the process. Yeah, okay, yes. I'm here to help with this. I'm here to. What is there a roadblock?
I don't find one.
There's no roadblock?
No.
Without a seeming roadblock, there is no time that is needed. So if something needs to be speeded up, it will be having to travel somewhere.
Yes.
So right now, is God's light apparent to you?
Yes.
It is apparent to you. What stops you from just living in that light?
I don't know.
Yes, so this is good. So the only thing that seems to stop us is the hypnosis from the mind which says, no, you have other things, you have other responsibilities and priorities, and takes us away from just the innocence of living in God's light. Without buying into the mind's hypnosis, there is no time. Nothing needs to be speeded up because God is already there.
Yes.
Yes. These conversations, the conversations like this I love because they're so simple. They're just so straightforward. So, what is the distance you have to travel?
No distance.
No distance. So, if no distance, then no speed needed.
Yes. Okay.
Very good. Very good. It's very good. Bless you. Bless you all my life. Want to sing something? Both of you? Okay. That's okay. Samir also wants to say. Just put your hand, my dear, Samir. Then you can go after your sisters here, or you can go before based on how fast they find this.
Yeah.
You want her to start? Okay.
Hello, Father. Thank you. Sorry, I need to open to the lyrics first.
You go first, yes.
Canı olmayan sahip cananı nereden bilsin? Canı olmayan sahip cananı nereden bilsin? Bir dert olan münafık lokmanı nereden bilsin? Bir dert olan münafık lokmanı nereden bilsin? La ilahe illallah, la ilahe illallah, la ilahe illallah, la ilahe illallah. Muhabbetle gelendir, aşk ile menzil alan, muhabbetle gülendir, aşk ile menzil alan, aşka canını vermeyen sultanı nereden bilsin? Aşka canını vermeyen sultanı nereden bilsin? Dilediği özüdür, özünü bilmez sahi. Dilediği özüdür, özünü bilmez sahi. Zahit özünü bilmedi, irfanı nereden bilsin? Zahit özünü bilmedi, irfanı nereden bilsin? La ilahe illallah, la ilahe illallah, la ilahe illallah, la ilahe illallah. Cümlenin canı kalbi zahitler inkar eder. Cümlenin canı kalbi zahitler inkar eder. Sahraya düşen damla ummanı nereden bilsin? Sahraya düşen damla ummanı nereden bilsin? La ilahe illallah, la ilahe illallah, La ilahe illallah, la ilahe illallah.
Thank you.
Amazing person.
Please, whatever.
Please tell me about the tune, Father, each time.
It's okay. Sing it badly.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. Was praised at dawn, my heart to view, and grace my face relieve. How precious that grace appeared, the hour I first believed. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. Through many dangers, toils and snares, I have already come. This grace that brought me safe thus far, and grace will lead me home. Then we've been here 10,000 years, bright shining as the sun, with no less tears to sing God's praise than when we first begun. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. Was blind,
but now I see.
What about that one, Kesha? Let's put your hand up. Ah, there. You ready? The one from the chosen.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
I'll try. Let's see if you can hear my ukulele. Hold on. I'll do a test real quick.
Yeah. Very good.
You can hear it?
Yes,
Yeah.
very audible.
Okay. How do I know every time you're going to ask me? I swear. I was prepared. From death to life, from darkness to shine, from a fear to a peace I can't explain, from doubts to a hope, holding on and letting go of all the empty promises of shame. This is my song. I was one way, but now I'm different. There was a clear change, a holy collision of who I was and who I'll forever be. And he was the in-between. From orphan to your child, from a stone running wild, from a seed in the ground to breaking out, from a mess to a mess, a blessing to a blessing, a sea of failures bearing testimony. This is my song. I was one way, but now I'm different. There was a clear change, a holy collision of who I was and who I'll forever be. And he was the in-between. Oh, love stretched out on a tree, screaming out so that I could say you've not forsaken me. You're the first and last, my future and my past, who I was and who I will forever be. You are the in-between. I was one way, but now I'm different. There was a clear change, a holy collision of who I was and who I'll forever be. And you are the in-between. I was one way, but now I'm different. There was a clear change, a ever be, and you are the in-between. You are the in-between.
Thank you all so much for being in Satsang today. Sadhguru Shri Muji Baba ki
Jai. Satguru Shri Ananta Ji ki Jai.
Guru Kripa Keval.